All right, so in this video, I want to show you something super powerful if you're an Obsidian user. Now, what I'm going to show you have many different applications, but I'm going to show you how I use it and some of the cool things I'm able to do with it. So, for example, this is how I used to have to deal with it. So if I click right here, we're in drafts. I'm going to click on what I would normally do. And this is how I would normally start filling out this information. I would make that go away. And then over here, I would look and see, okay, what's the headline? Okay, this is my headline. So I would copy this. I would click copy. I would come down here. I would go down 2 spaces, drop it in because that's the headline. Then after that, I would copy this right here where it says tags. I would grab this, I would copy this, and I would paste it in here. And then after that, I would scroll down and I would just fill out this stuff. So you can see where it says the lead, go here. So this right here would be my lead, which is this little sentence right here, which is above the fold. So I would paste this in right here. And then after that, I would take this, the rest of this copy, which is all of this right here, and let's talk text should be already in there, and it is. Then I grab all of this, copy it. Once copied, I would paste it in right here. I would grab this, and that would be my paste point. Now I'm ready to work with this file. Now, the problem with this is it takes up a lot of time, and give or take, it only takes about 30 seconds. However, that's 30 seconds that I can get back, and if you track that over time, you begin to save a lot of time. So let me show you how I do it now. So now what I do instead of doing this is I just come over here. I say Command A since I'm on the keyboard. I copy it. Once it's copied, we can leave up out of here. So I'm just gonna close up out of drafts because drafts isn't my main app, at least not for this specific situation. I come over here. I type in Will Talk Tech, publish to Obsidian. I click enter. It's asking me what's the file name. I don't remember what the file name for this is, so I'm just gonna say, let's just say demo. I'm gonna say done, and now that's it. Now let's look at what just happened. Once we come back over here, we can see that we now have that file that I just created, demo, right here. But look, we already got everything up in here. We got my tags at the top that I'm gonna use. We have my blurb that I need, my headline. Then we have Let's Talk Tech with all my chapters, my contact information, as well as the article. But if we go a step further, we can see right here, it also has some extra information, which is my footer information that goes to every single YouTube video, which basically states affiliate marketing and disclaimer, stuff like that. So all of that is combined into here, and all I had to do is push, however long it took me to do it, but I literally pushed one button and done all that work for me. So the question is, how did I do it? Well, I'm using a few different apps to make this happen, and that's what this video is about today. It's about simplifying the boring stuff. So strap in, you finna enjoy this. And again, this is for power users who love Obsidian. For me, while I don't necessarily consider myself a power user when it comes to Obsidian, I do consider myself somewhat a power user when it comes to automation. So with that being said, let me show you how to build this for yourself. Okay, so first things first, we have to look at what it takes to build this. And we need a few things. Very first thing we're gonna have to do is download a few apps. So we can actually leave Obsidian open, but we're gonna go over to the App Store right now. Once at the App Store, I'm gonna click on search. And the first thing I'm gonna need is the Shortcuts app. So if you don't have Shortcuts, then you're gonna need this app right here. It's 100% free. It's awesome, highly recommended. The next app we're gonna need is Actions Obsidian. Now, Actions for Obsidian is a super duper powerful app. Now, I'll be the first to admit, the way he go about getting you to upgrade to the subscription is very annoying. But if you can look past that part of this app, I'm telling you, the things you can do with this app is really good. I'm going to show you some of them, but just understand it's really good, okay? The next thing we need is an app called Data Jar. I did a whole video on Data Jar already. I'll link it up for you in the description area below. So let's go over to Data Jar, and this app right here is Data Jar. It's 100% free. You can go crazy with it, and it's basically just a place for us to store information. All right, so those are the 3 apps you need. Once you have those installed, we now have to go over to Obsidian and do some work over there. All right, so I'm gonna close out of this. I'm gonna open up Obsidian. This is Obsidian right here. I'm actually gonna delete this since I don't need it anymore. And what I'll do is, while I'm over here, I think I'll create. First, we're gonna do the important things first. So let's go over to settings. We're gonna scroll down to community plugins, and if you have this turned off, you definitely want to turn it. You want to allow community plugins. So you want to make sure this feature is turned on. So restriction mode should be off. So if you turn it on, so turn on to disable community plugins. Restricted mode is off. So you want to make sure this is off. It should look like this right here. Now, community plugins, we go over to browse. We can come up here and we can type in something called templater, which is right here, over 1.1 million installs. Now, since it's telling me I need to update mine, I'm gonna go ahead and update it. Now, what templater allows us to do is some really, really cool things. You see at the top of my, let's go back over to one. So this is another one that I use. So you see all of this up here, it's templated. Now, I think I got this, I don't know where I got this formatting from. I think it was Ali Abdal or somebody else. They had a more sophisticated or complex, and I just took out the main pieces. So don't look at that part, but just look at the part like up here with templater. You can use templater to do this. This metadata, all of that's through templater, and I'm gonna show you how easy it is to do it in just a second. All right, so that's why you want to use templater. So we're gonna go back over to settings. So you're gonna create a folder just like you see here called templates. Inside of that folder, you know what? Let's just go create a new database and do it together. All right, hold on one second. All right, so here we are on a fresh database. So now I'm able to show you how to do it step by step, click by click. All right, so let's dig in. First things first, we need to activate community plugins because honestly, that's where all the power is when it comes to Obsidian. So we're gonna click right there, click on settings, and we're gonna turn on community plugins. Next, what we're gonna do, and the same thing, whether you're doing this on your phone, your iPad, like I'm doing it on my iPad Pro, or if you're even doing it on your Mac, MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, or anything like that, is all the same. That's the cool thing about, using Apple ecosystem, if you will. Everything is exactly the same no matter which one you do, especially when it comes to shortcuts and this type of automation stuff. So it's pretty solid. All right, so first things first, once we turned it on, we're gonna turn on browse. First thing we're doing is making a beeline for templater, which is right here. So we're gonna install it. We're gonna enable it once it's installed, and that's it. Now I can step you through how to do it. Now, right now you can see the only community plugin I have right here is templater. So we're gonna click on it. And first things first, it's saying templates folder location. So you can see it says example files in this folder will be available as templates. So we need to create a templates folder, but we're gonna set up our settings, then we're gonna come back to that. So I like to turn on this, I like to turn on this, and then trigger templater on new file creation. I like to turn on that. That means every file, each one will automatically have whatever template I say added to it. So I'm gonna give you an example of that in just a second. So first things first, we can add a folder, but before we add a folder, we first have to set up our templates folder. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna say new folder, and this is going to be templates. All right, so now this is my templates folder. So now what I can do is I can come back over to templates and I can click right here and I can say, hey, this is my templates folder. Now what you'll see is once I come down here, I can say, okay, template keys allows you to, so basically this is like if I wanted to create something like hotkeys since I'm on the keyboard, I could do that coming over here, but honestly, I don't want to do that. So I'm not gonna mess with that right now. So first things first, I can click plus sign. So I'm going to skip over this. And what I'm going to do is it says enable folder templates. I already did that. Add new folder template. I can say plus. And basically what this does is it says templates, and I'm able to add whatever template I want here. So let me show you what that looks like. We're going to come out of here. We're going to come down here, and inside of here, I'm going to say new note. I'm going to say test, and I'm going to leave up out of there. Now I want to create another one. So I'm going to say new note. We can say YouTube template. This would be something really cool. All right, and then after that, I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna say another note, and I'm gonna say email template. All right, so I think that should be enough. We can do one more, I guess, for let's just say one more. All right, so I got a book template. Why did you buy this book? I have an email template. This is a really awesome email. And then I have a YouTube template. This would be something really cool. All right, so now what I can do is I can create some folders over here. So the very first folder I want to create is going to be YouTube. The next folder I want to create is going to be email. And then the third folder I'm going to create is going to be my book template. So it's just going to be books. Now that we have those, what I can do is I can come back over to templater and I can scroll down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that out. And for YouTube, I want to use the YouTube template. For email, I want to use the email template. And if I say add another one, so I can say plus right here, it'll add another one. And I could say books. I want to use the books template. So now that we have that set up, everything's looking good. We have our starter template. All right, so we're not going to mess with our starter templates. And then we're going to come back up here. All right. Now, and the reason why it knew that these was the templates is because we outlined it up here. All right. So now, if I come over here to books, and let's say I say plus, let's say I say new note, you can see new note automatically get that template. What did you buy this? Why did you buy this book? Now I can come up in here and I can say blah, 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 blah. Same thing is true with all these other ones. If I click on email and I add a new note, it's automatically going to get that template, which is this is an awesome email. And then I can come up in here and say, you know, whatever the name of the book is. And the same thing is true with YouTube. If I come over and I say new note, it's automatically applying that template that we picked up. Now, the cool thing about it is we can make this a lot more sophisticated, a lot more creative. We can literally go in and template every single thing we do using this specific plugin combined with Obsidian. But that's only the beginning. I got something really cool to show you. Now that we have this set up, now this is where the magic begins. Now, it's true. We can come to our, let's say, our YouTube, and we could delete this right here. And what we could do is add file property. So we can click over here on these three dots, click add file property. And now, and what we can do to spice up things is we can click right here. Well, first we're going to click on it's a book right now, but we want to put it in edit status. We're going to click on the three dots. We're going to say add file properties. And now from here, we can do whatever we want to do. Like we can change this to, we can have it as a tag if we want. We can add another property and we can change that property up based on this right here. And if we want to, we can add another property. And again, we can change it up based on this. And the cool thing about this is we can just start typing. And once we start typing, we get a checkbox if we want it to be true or false. We can do all kind of stuff within properties to make it pretty cool. Now, the even better thing is we can actually automate this part. So we can create it once and it automatically happens every single time, even if it's not in templater. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so the very first app we're going to work with, now that we have this set up, we're actually going to leave this for now. But I do need to know one thing really quickly. Okay, demo vault. You're going to want to know the name of your vault because it's going to come in handy later. So let's set up, trying to see what's the easiest way for us to do this. We're going to start with data jar because I'm sure you're familiar with data jar. If you're not, it's a video below. First things first, we're going to look at, let's see here. So we'll talk tech footer. This is not what I want. Let's see. Okay, so this is what we want right here. This is what we want. I'm going to link this up in the description area below for you so you don't have to try to grab a screenshot. Just copy it from below and just follow along. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to copy. I'm going to cancel out. I'm going to plus it. I'm going to paste in that value. And you want to make sure that it's exactly like this. There's no extra spaces. So right here, where you see this at right here, if I do space over and then I exit, that, believe it or not, will break it. So you want to make sure there's no spaces at this dash or at this dash. And then this, I'm just going to have it as demo vault, because I'm sure I'm going to be using this again. We're going to have it at text, leave it on text, and we're going to click save. Now, the next thing we want to do is I'm going to actually just grab this because this is the one I already have. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to say copy. I'm going to just cancel out of that. I'm going to say new. I'm going to say demo. I guess I can say demo vault footer. And then over here, I'm going to change this up a little bit. All right. So I just took off a little bit of it. And now I'm going to say save. Demo vault footer. Important. I'm going to say save. So now that we got these two out the way, now remember, I want you to notice that I put body goes here within brackets. That part is really important. So you want to make sure you put that up in there because that's how we're going to tell, shortcuts where to place our copy. that we write. All right. So you want to make sure you have that up in there. That's a placeholder. It doesn't have to say body goes here. I just put that there because it makes sense to me, but you can have it say anything you want. All right. So I'm going to say save. Now that we have this set up, the next thing we want to do is go over to actions. So actions for Obsidian is what we want to go to now. So I'm just going to say mark as red. Now, as you can see, I already have one vault linked up to actions by Obsidian, but well, it's not by Obsidian, but for Obsidian. And I want to link up a new one. I want to link up that new data vault, the new demo vault that I set up. So we're going to do that. So let's say link up. It's going to give us some stuff. We can actually click through this stuff. We can come down. Now, this is probably the easiest way to do it if you're new to it. So you can look through your files and see where it's at, but we can scroll down to Obsidian. All right. So this is Obsidian right here. I'm going to click through. When you click through, all of these are vaults. Each folder represents a vault, and the items inside, 12 items, 8 items, 6 items, 12 items, all of those represents how many items inside that vault. But we are playing with the demo vault. So this is what we want to open up. Once we click on demo vault, we don't want to click into any of these folders. We just want to click on demo vault and then click open. Once we do that, we can click continue. Then we can say open your Obsidian vault. It opened up the right vault, which means that I did it correctly. So now I can come back over here and I can say continue. Now I can say open actions URL in your vault. I could say open actions URL in my vault. This is something I don't have installed, so I need to install it. So I'm going to say install, then I'm going to say enable. Once that's installed and enabled, and this is how actions for Obsidian works with Obsidian. So you want to make sure that's installed. All right. So after that, I can click on exit. Now, after that, I can click continue. Now I can say ask Obsidian to call back. That's just basically making a phone call and seeing if you get a message back, or sending a text saying if you get a text back. All right. So I'm going to say ask. And you can see that it was successful. Basically, it was able to open up the app, and then it was able to come back to Obsidian, come back to Actions for Obsidian and report that, hey, it worked. So once you have that done, you're all done. So now you can see I have 2 vaults linked. And from my knowledge, and I didn't read the documentation on it, but I don't think there's a limit on how many vaults you can connect. All right, with that part being done, easy peasy so far, right? So we're going to leave out of actions for Obsidian because we're done with it for right now. Now it's time for us actually to go into shortcuts and start building out our shortcuts. So here we are where we left off at. We can leave this open. We're going to leave that open because we're going to be using it, and we can leave that open. So I'm just going to come over here and say shortcuts. Click enter. And first things first, I want to come down here to the shared one. All right. So now that we're on the shared shortcuts, this shortcut is already available. I know I didn't say it at the beginning of the video, but it is available below, so you can always install it that way. However, I recommend you learn this stuff for yourself because I'm telling you it's super powerful. All right. So we're going to hit the plus sign, and we're going to say, I guess we can just call this an Obsidian. All right. So I just call this Obsidian template. So first things first, we can come over here, make it look a little bit better if we want to. We can make it green. We can make this a notes. So we can make it, let's see, that right there. And we can make it an orange since that's my favorite color. Now, once we do this, the very first thing I recommend we do is to start grabbing those values from data jar. So we're going to come over here to data jar. We're going to click on data jar, and we're going to say get value. Get value is just basically saying, hey, I need you to get whatever I stored, whatever information is in this jar, I need you to take it out and give it to me. That's what this, in essence, does. Now what we want to do is we want to come back over to data jar. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do demo vault. So I'm going to say copy key. It's important we copy the key and not the value. All right. So we're going to copy the key. We're going to say enter. Next, what I want to do is I want to get the clipboard, because for this to work, I need to be able to copy whatever's on the clipboard that I copy is going to be my article. So I don't want to do any extra work outside of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say get clipboard rather. Not copy the clipboard, but get clipboard. So we're going to come back over here and I'm going to say get clipboard. So now this is going to get whatever's on my clipboard. The next thing we need to tackle is, remember inside of data jar, if we look over here inside of data jar, we have this right here. We need to tackle this replace footer stuff. All right, so I'm going to say copy key. I'm going to say data jar. I'm going to say, let's see, where is it? Get value. I'm going to paste in that get value. Now we want to go back over the data jar. I'm going to get the demo vault footer, and this is what we want to copy. This is what we want to copy right here. Now you can make this say whatever you want it to say. Like it could literally say blah 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 goobly gop. As long as you copy it exactly the way you have it on here, it'll work. So that's why I like to copy it. If you ever bought a lot of domain names, you tend to realize that it's better to just copy the domain name instead of trying to type it in and then trying to figure out why your website not coming up. Or maybe that's just me. So I'm gonna copy this right here. I'm gonna say save. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back over here. And now what I want to do is I want to get a find and replace. So find. All right. So replace text is what it's called. Once we drop that over there, the very next thing we want to do is we want to paste it in what we copy, because that's exactly what it's going to be. Next, what we want to do is it says replace this with what? So it's asking us, what are we replacing this text with? Well, we want to replace it with whatever's on our clipboard. So what we're going to say is replace with clipboard, which is right here. Once we do that, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move on to the next part of the shortcut, because now that we have the replace the header, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to ask for an input, and we're going to place this right here. And the prompt is going to be, what's the name of the file? This one actually right here is pretty important, because if we don't have this right here, then when it comes to over here, when it comes to, let's say, it having a file name, you can see it says untitled right here. But if I say something nice and then we come back over here, it's going to say something nice. So you want to make sure that whatever the file name is something noticeable, because that's what's going to be right here. And that's what you're going to see going down it. So if you want to know what it is at a glance, make sure you give it really good names. All right, let's come back over to our shortcuts. I can say enter. Okay, so really quickly, what I want to do is, this doesn't have to be case sensitive, but it can. But I'm going to clear this variable only because I want to be 100% sure that I got the right variable, because you can see this is a value, this is a value. If I grab this value by accident, it's not going to work. So I want to make sure I have this value, because that's where it's going to work at. So I'm going to grab that, and I could actually turn that off. Next, what I want to do is I want to come back over here once I've done that, and it's time for us to grab a set variable. Now, honestly, we really don't have to have set variable, but I want to have it just for my own peace of mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this to, say, article, because in essence, this is going to be my article. So this is what I want it to be. And now what I want to do is actually, yeah, that's how I want it. So now what I want to do is I want to add in a text box. So this is a text. I'm going to put it right here. And if we wanted to, we could put it up here, but I want it right here. And now what I want to do is I want to have this one right here, this value, this demo vault, I want to have that first. So in order to make that happen, I'm going to select variable. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to click that. And that's what I want first. Then after that, I'm going to drop down one line. I'm going to say select variable, and I'm going to paste in article, because that's what I want. So now I have, in essence, everything that I need to make this work. So I'm going to say done. And this is how it looks. The next thing I want to do is I need to come over here and grab actions for Obsidian, because that's what makes all this work. So once I get to it, I'm going to scroll down to create. Let's see here, Obsidian notes. This is what we want right here, create notes. Now, in another video, if you want me to, I'll go over periodic notes with you and show you how that works. Like if you want to pin things to notes, if you want to know how to do that, let me know in the comments below and I'll create a video about it. All right, but for right now, the one we want to do is scroll back up to create notes. Now, this is what we want. At first look, this looks like, okay, what do I do with this? But honestly, it's fairly simple. What we want, our path name, so it says at file path. We want this to be, so we can come over to create note, which is the one we want. And we don't want get note, because get note, if we do that, it's not going to give us what we want. So we want to make sure we have create note. Our file path is going to be provide input, which is right here. This is something we want to control on our own. Our vault, any vault you have, going to pop up right here. In this case, we want it to be data demo vault, and then insert body. If we want to, we can say apply templater, but we don't want to do that. We can apply templates from core plugin. We have some flexibility when it comes to this, but I highly recommend you start off with insert body. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to insert this text. So we don't want updated text. We just want normal text. Now, if we want to make sure that we get the right one, we could always add in a variable, but we don't want to do that in this case because we know we can click select variable and then we can say text. Now what we want to do is we can honestly play it, but let's just test it out. So I'm going to say come back over here, and now this is it. So if we come back over to our iPad productivity home screen video, I can come over here. I can say Command A. Once I say Command A, I'm going to right click copy. Once it's copied to my clipboard, I should be able to say We'll Talk Tech, publish, hit enter. What's the file name? It's going to be iPad. All right, so iPad productivity home screen setup. I'm going to say done, and now it's going to come through. It's going to do everything it needs to do. And okay, so right now what just happened was it basically got stuck, so we can stop it, but basically it swapped back out on me. So let's go back over to demo, and let's come back over here, and now let's try this one more time, and we're going to make sure this might be one that I have to play from inside the app. So we're just going to copy this, and we're going to run the first instance of it from right here. All right, and we're going to make sure it say demo vault. It does. So I'm going to say play. I'm going to say home screen setup productivity, and I'm going to say done. And if you haven't successful, this is where it should end. Now I'm hoping they do something I'm hoping the developers stop bringing us to Obsidian and just land us on an open document, or just leave us in shortcuts and not do anything, or close them out after they open. Although we could create a close action for Obsidian after we run that, and we don't got to worry about it. But honestly, I guess we don't want to get that sophisticated. But let's come back over here, and we can see it right here. We have all our metadata. We have our home screen set up. We come over here, it says home screen set up productivity. Right now I could just go over to YouTube. I could take all of this and just put it in. Now this gap right here, if you're wondering where this gap is coming from, is actually coming from right here. Let me show you, just in case you don't like that. It's coming from right here. For whatever reason, if I bring this space up one and then put it back, that gap would be gone. Now, actually, that's not true. That's not where that gap is coming from. I just thought about it. That gap is coming from over here, down here. So if let's say I copy this right here, let's just say I copy, and then after that, I come back over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to delete this one because I want to see, now that I've ran it the first time in Obsidian, will it allow me to do it easily now. So I'm going to come to my home screen. I'm going to say We'll Talk Tech. I'm going to say home screen setup productivity. I'm going to say done, and for whatever reason it's not letting me do it. These are the quirks of dealing with shortcuts. Why it keeps defaulting to my main vault, I honestly don't know. So let's see here. We can see that, okay, so it's ended successfully. It's just in it. I'll put this right here, but let's clear this out, and we're going to say demo vault again, and let's come back over to actions for Obsidian. It says you already have two vaults linked. It says end of workflow, do nothing, open Obsidian, open shortcuts. Oh, I didn't know that they added this here. So you're telling me I can go back to shortcuts, or I could go to the home screen? I like that. So maybe we should open back up shortcuts. Let's see if that works. All right, so demo vault, all that looks good. Obsidian, it really shouldn't matter if I'm on this vault or not, but we're gonna come back over to this vault, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play it from here. We know it'll work from here, and we're just gonna say home screen setup, and then I'm gonna say done, and we can see that it was successfully there. That is awesome. That is awesome. Putting me back at my shortcut and not on that is awesome. So now we can see it's back over here, and we can see that if we click right here, it's there. Now the problem is, oh wow, I know y'all on camera telling me like, Will, you're running the wrong shortcut. I'm muscle memory. I promise you, muscle memory. All right, so basically what's happening is I'm not running Obsidian template. I'm so used to running Wheel Talk Tech when I'm doing it that is muscle memory, and that's what I'm doing, and that's why I keep hitting the error. So if we close out of here, and I can't believe that, and I'm leaving that part up in the video too. So if we come back over here and we click on this right here, we say delete. We're going to run it one more time, and we're going to come to where I would normally be, which is right here. And we're going to take a look at that part that has that big chunk. So I'm going to just copy only the part that I need and not all that extra space down here. So it's copied. I'm going to say Obsidian template, which is right here. I'm going to say home screen setup. In parentheses, I like to put a keyword so I'll know like what it's about. So I'm going to say done, and it landed us back at shortcuts. It's a beautiful thing. Now, if we come back over here, we can now see that is where it's supposed to be, and I can add in my keywords. I can add in my title. I can add in the video URL. I can say if the video has been published or not. All that metadata is automatically added in here for me, and I don't have to do anything else. If we scroll down here, we can see there is no big gap between these two like it was. And the reason why is because we closed off the gap when we decided to copy just the part that we needed. So we're not copying any extra spacing or anything like that. This by far is one of the best ways to use Obsidian when it comes to shortcuts. And Templator or Actions for Obsidian, but with Actions for Obsidian and Templator, it gets very interesting. You can literally template anything you want inside of Obsidian, and you no longer have to worry about to copy it over here or copy it over there, because you can do everything inside of shortcuts. I really hope you see the power in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. My name is Will. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if you like it. If you want to see more shortcut tutorials, let me know, because I'm really trying to figure out what type of videos would you like to see more of. Till next time. Later.